You know, Doom, I've been that terrible guy today. You know what we have not been doing for players through any of our introductions?
Twitters.
Twitters. So we're going to make sure to do that for this game, guys. I'm just going to actually go copy-paste Drunken Boys. Of course, Polt's is really easy. It's CM Storm Polt, but... Without further ado, we're hopping into Game 2. Sadly, we did not get to cast Game 1, but spawning here in the lower right corner of the map, playing for his brand new team, Deimos. It's going to be Drunkenboi, and if you want, you can find this guy on Twitter at DrunkenboySC2.
And his opponent, ladies and gentlemen, a dominator from the old school days, StarCraft 2. This is the GSL Super Tournament winner. This guy has been on a long ride throughout his career, a long, successful ride. The number 4 ranked player in terms of total earnings in StarCraft 2 over the course of his career. Ladies and gentlemen, 2-time WCS NA champion, sponsored by CM Storm, in the red trunks, none other than Polt.
You can find him on Twitter at CMStormPolt, and I encourage you, whoever wins, guys, go follow your favorite StarCraft players, even if they're not in the games we're casting. It's the best way to keep tabs on who's playing what and where and why. Maybe you're a big fan of Masan, maybe you're a big fan of Polt, maybe you're a big fan of Drunkenboi, I don't know. But the best way to show your support, it's not through some silly Team Liquid thread or posting about them on Reddit. It's give them a follow on Twitter. Let them know just how much you appreciate them. Polt even said in his WCS interview, he's like, look, I might not respond to every single one, but I read every single tweet I get.
And you're literally able to communicate directly with these players through Twitter. Like, I don't know if anyone recognizes the power of Twitter in that regard, but you're able to directly, essentially have a face-to-face conversation with these people at any point in the day. Unless you say something really weird, then, you know, that just makes it awkward.
They end up blocking you or something like that. Yeah.
But I mean, Twitter is such a valuable asset to esports and the growth of online content. So it's, you know, something that if you're not on, you'll be on it soon.
Dude,
you'll be deleting your Facebook and get on Twitter.
I don't know how Game 1 went, but I'm smelling mech out of Drunkenboi from Game 1. It looks like he'll be doing it here in Game 2 with this very quick factory. Was probably hoping to irk out some Hellions before anything happened, but Polt with that SCV, yes, it may have died, and I missed first blood, but he got to see the factory coming out.
Which is kind of interesting for Polt to approach this situation with, because there's something you can do in TVT which is really effective, is a very quick Marine tank push. And if one player goes for that and the other does not, then there could be some trouble brewing. And we actually are going to see that quick tech lab on the factory. So I'm curious if that's the style that Drunkenboi may potentially go for here, to try to say, okay, Polt, I'm going to pin you up against inside of your main base and try to see if I can just dominate you from there.
Yeah, Banshee openings are so common in this matchup nowadays, it's ridiculous. For a while, we didn't see Banshees, if ever. And then one small change to the cloak upgrade cost, and suddenly they're back in full swing. In fact, almost non-stop. But of course, hand in hand with Banshees came Ravens. And I don't think either of these players are going to have too much trouble holding off the aggression of one of the other. But Polt's someone who really rarely, if ever, strays from his just pure bio play. Is just gonna probably get a Viking out here real quick to be safe, followed up with some Medivacs, some Widow Mines maybe, and just be good to go. But
curious to see if Polt's gonna go for maybe some type of Hellion style with his reactor coming down on the factory itself. You know, this is so much different than what we see in EU TVT Rift, but it does look like he'll be moving that over on to the barracks. So this could be a Marine tank Viking style out of Polt, and indicative of this early command center, which it looks like he's going to try to take this into some later stage of the game, knock over some type of early one-base push style.
I think tanks would be cool to see early on, but with the reactor, the tech lab going down on the factory, it's almost certainly going to be Banshees to compare this up. Drunkenboi, however, while he may have opened with a Banshee of his own, he's getting a Raven out very quickly. So this means he's not going to have to burn energy on scans, and he'll be able to chase down anything in the air with relative ease.
Dang, man, I just really want to see some freaking tanks out of one of these players, but okay, it is going to be a Raven out of Polt, and I guess, okay, he must be familiar. We must have seen Banshees in the first game just to be so preemptive about what's about to happen to him here.
Yeah, Banshee getting shelled out right away.
Ready, man.
Oh, Marine's going to get on top of the soup. Drunkenboi, there we go, cloakingly jukes out that last missile hit.
Polt's not going to let it up, Rifkin. He's going to be tracking it here. Maybe he'll be burning a scan, maybe not. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I'm following it. I want to see if this Banshee dies, but As we see, we finally have your wish being granted. Tanks being made from both these players.
Polk's gonna stalk the crap out of that Banshee there, man. He wants to take it down, but here we go. Marine's gonna fall under there, and the Viking's actually gonna fall.
Yeah, and the Banshee will get out alive. Natural base. Well, natural base is being kind of taken at awkwardly similar timings. The only difference is Polt's up on the high ground opposed to the low ground. Getting another Viking out here. Precautionary, of course, because he doesn't want Drunkenboi to think he's got a hole in which to come with Banshees. But as we see, Polt and Drunkenboi both go for Stim, so I was wrong about guessing mech. I was hoping it was going to be mech because I really like mech TVT, but bio versus bio, a lot of this comes out of control, and Drunkenboi is a fantastic player. He was one of the few North American players who I think really breached out first when it came to WCS, but I don't know.
Back when the Hellbats were crazy.
Yeah, but going toe-to-toe, multitasking, Marine versus Marine, Marine tank versus Marine tank, against someone like Polt, I don't know, dude. I don't know.
I don't think you can go mech against Polt. I think his multitasking, I think his control, I think his experience in the matchup is just too much to contest. But I do like, wow. I do like Drunkenboi's, the way he's stringing everything together here. But this is going to be an awkward situation where his third base is going to get shelled, man.
Yeah, Banshee actually killed something that was the SUV building that barracks there, so a little bit denied for the time being. But I gotta say, that was overkill on that Marine. That was a siege tank fire and a secret missile, both hitting within microseconds of one another for the killing blow. But okay, the vision from the air of Drunkenboi is gonna be the one thing advantageously on his side, because Polt's not gonna be able to advance too far with this siege tank. And if Drunkenboi can just finish this, he can lift it in the air, it'll be safe from the siege tanks.
Somewhat of an awkward situation, but Polt is maintaining somewhat of a supply lead. Now going to be falling back a little bit as those units are getting shelled back, and the Banshee finally coming back in play here to defend against this tank, and this should force Polt back.
Yeah,
as the tank is going to fall, man.
A nice early hold here on the Drunkenboi. Some great control with his Banshee too. Not even utilizing cloak and still kills the tank and several Marines. Wait, how did he see that? That was crazy. Did he
ran out of energy, so he like hit 25 energy, hit
and cloaked. Okay,
and then with a single point of energy stayed cloaked.
Yeah, that like 1 to 2 seconds.
Yep. That's the way the cookie crumbles. But we do see Stim completed here for Drunkenboi. Polt Stim just a couple of seconds out. Well, about 50 seconds out or so, 40 seconds out or so. Behind this, though, Polt's taking his third base at his direct third base location, and looking at how each player is powering into the mid stage of the game. Polt has actually gone for 2 Tech Lab style to get his upgrades out quicker in sequence here, Stim and Combat Shields, while Drunkenboi has got his Stim out quicker, gonna get his Combat Shields a little bit later than Polt, but he's gonna have that double reactor infrastructure out much faster. So beyond this, each player's kind of just mirroring each other. Rifkin, except in terms of the tank count, where Drunkenboi has a 1 tank lead at this point. So very, very close, very, very even. And in fact, the supplies are going to directly reflect that.
Well, you know, tank counts are kind of interesting though. It's not like any other matchup. Like if you're watching a mirror of Zerg, whoever has more roaches wins. Whoever has more mutalisks wins. In Terran vs Terran, it's not necessarily the case. There's so much more to positioning those tanks than just simply having pure numbers. But oh, speaking of positioning, Drunkenboi is going to take siege up, and Polt's going to lose a lot of Marines right off the bat. Secret missile is going to get dudded. No. Okay. What? Oh, it must have been targeted on something that died. That was weird.
Yep.
I hate how those things work. But looks like the third base of Polt has been revealed by Drunkenboi. Marine trying to do what it can. Raven's actually, what? Gonna lose that Viking fight there, so now forced to back up with his own Raven. Polt still has energy to drop off 2 Seekers if he wants to as well.
I like the decision from Drunkenboi to go for this, drop over here. He could potentially be picking off some SCVs that'll be coming over, and he knows where Polt's army is, so he's obviously aware that Polt doesn't want to get dropped in the main base, as evidenced by this sensor tower, which has been built pretty quickly so far. But Drunkenboi's in a really nice position here. Rifkin with a lot of SCVs at his third base, establishing a pretty good economic lead in the 13-minute mark of the game. And with this drop, he might be able to pick off a lot of SCVs that are just transferring over.
I think Polt's going to get caught completely sideswiped this, a little off guard. Pulls the SCVs, his reaction time is impeccable, but still loses quite a few of them here. In fact, 10 SCVs have been slaughtered by the looks of it. But this also pulls Polt's army back, so That sort of dominating position he had down here in the central part of the map, unbudging as it was forced to move back. And as we get towards the later game here, well, I said siege tank counts don't really matter, but actually they're both uneven counts, right? I thought Polt had significantly less. But yeah, positioning I think is going to be such a big deal. Air dominance is going to be a big deal. Drunkenboi, I believe, lost his Viking. He still has the Raven out for sure, but yeah, I don't know. This tanks being able to shoot longer than they can see is going to be such a big deal here. But an awkward position is taken up here by Polt. He gets the siege off first. Will it be enough?
Does have a better marine count, does Drunkenboi, but he's going to push forward here. The tanks. Polt, but this is such a weird position for both players to be engaging at.
The only advantage, of course, is Polt can see a little bit further thanks to those medevacs, so Drunkenboi will back up. Both players lost a lot in that engagement. That was kind of, honestly, a bit of a wash. If we take a look at the units count on the field, it goes from 7 and 7 tanks apiece to 4 and barely 5.
So we were talking about advantages in this game and where you can pick off certain things. It does look like that Drunkenboi has a significant lead in terms of getting his +2/+2 started. He got his armory down quicker, he had 2 E-base up quicker, and if he's able to really take advantage of that, that could make a big difference in these pivotal engagements that are pretty much going to be consuming the mid game here as we progress farther into this marine tank medevac battle. And literally the only units we're going to see on the field, Rifkin, are going to be marines, tanks, and STVs.
Were you
and medevacs.
Were you the one I was casting Happy versus Koss with?
Oh yes, sir.
I would love if this went the way of that series and just like we had battle cruisers and other crazy things get out onto the map, but Drunkenboi gonna try and drop on top of the tanks, not gonna be afforded that opportunity. Wow, did that get shut down quick.
It's tough to do that to Polt, who is just such a quick player in terms of his general APM and everything. And this sneaky Raven on the right side of the field, we're going to have to keep an eye out on that to see what's going to happen. We do have somewhat of a Mexican standoff here with Polt occupying this watchtower, and with Drunkenboi saying that he's not going to let Polt progress farther down the map.
Polt could drop 4 auto turrets to the main to Drunkenboi, and that's going to not be too easily cleaned up. It looks like he's going to move the Raven in, or maybe not. It started moving.
Soon, TM.
Derp.
Well, Drunkenboi going to have a failed drop attempt here in the upper right-hand corner. I'm going to be offloading those marines here. But looking at the supplies, man, Drunkenboi is actually taking a pretty significant lead, dude. This is interesting to me. I don't know where that extra
here we go. Auto turrets have been thrown down to him, and the SVs are forced to evacuate. But if he focuses down, the one supply depot did have supply called upon it. Marine's going to come in and try and clean this up. And of course, auto turrets have like 150 health and a hell of a lot of range. And Drunkenboi, it's actually not even attacking initially. There we go. Meanwhile, this does allow a bit of a scuffle here in the middle of the map, but Polt didn't lose any tanks, just mostly Marines are meandering around. Drop at the third of Polt, though, Doom. Gonna be able to get this command
delay
center.
that 4th base.
It's gonna kill that 4th base.
No cancel from Polt.
Ooh, that's gonna be rough.
And on the left side of the field here, Drunkenboi is continuing to push forward away from Polt's main siege tank force. And, Polt's been stymied by that watchtower, but now it's going to open up an opportunity for Drunkenboi potentially. He can't drop in the main, though.
Drunkenboi's not remining in the main yet either. This is a huge deal. This is so many SCVs not mining right now. This is like 20 SCVs, Doom.
Yeah, and the problem is that Drunkenboi has significantly more SCVs than Polt, which means Polt's going to have more general armory supply. But, alright, drop's going to go down the main base. That missile turret doing a great job of cleaning up those missile turrets, and this is going to get cleaned up very quickly. An ineffective drop there from Drunkenboi.
I'm sorry, there's not a lot of times I'll scumbag someone like this, but did you just say those missile turrets will clean up those missile turrets?
Those missile turrets will clean up the medevacs, I thought, but dope. I did say otherwise.
It's okay, dude. If I did,
hey! I don't live on the West Coast, alright? I'm not afforded this luxury of casting primetime StarCraft.
Evening, yeah, it's like 8 p.m. for me right now. This is fantastic. This is where I want to be.
Oh, you silly West Coasters! All right, Polt, despite being in a deficit in +2/+2, going to be getting that +3 infantry weapons upgrade much quicker.
Oh, but look at the drop on the tanks. Drunkenboi trying to unload as well, but this is going to allow the Marines to just stim up into the tanks.
And skirmish on the left-hand side, though. Drunkenboi is going to clean up Polt's small army over there. So we're seeing, once again, the cyclical nature of the TVT matchup. These engagements going down on each side of the field. And Drunkenboi is going to be the first player to establish his 4th base, though. So despite being down in upgrades at this point, despite being down in perhaps not overall supply. Whoa, going to take a big supply swing with this engagement.
Doom, look at the units lost right now. 148 Marines, 142 Marines for Drunkenboi. And the tanks, 14 tanks, 10 tanks.
Rifkin gonna take every single one of these tanks down. All these Marines potentially, but no, the Marines with the high ground are gonna help clean that up. 3 of the lowest
With like
tanks I've ever
one
seen.
red bar each, Polt needs to repair these. Please, Polt, don't let these die. But all right, Marines unloading here, going to catch another tank of Drunkenboi, and he cannot afford to keep throwing units away like this. However, one advantage is he does have his 4th base operational. It is mining. Polt is not. So he's got the planetary, he's ready to rock and roll, and Polt has just got this awkward command center doing nothing for the time being.
So really what we're going to have to watch for here is where is Drunkenboi going to take his infrastructure? Will he add on more barracks or will he switch his tech up? And same thing with Polt here, but Polt's got such a nice tank line going down with him.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward here for Drunkenboi. He's got to rely on scans to really connect to any of this army. Polt had a Raven. Where is that Raven? It's garnering energy. It looks like he's going to go back for more auto turret drops when he can. But trying to sneak out of his base is Polt, and perhaps not the best choice as he walks into the siege tank fire. He's got the Spirit Marine count. He should be able to clean this up.
Cleaning up indeed, but on the right side of the map here, this is going to open up a window for a Drunkenboi to try to potentially attack this 4th base. Which is now a planetary fortress, but it looks like he may just be subverting this, try to go for 3rd. Nope. Oh, yep. Nope. Oh,
yep.
Right.
Awkward. Just like it's the planetary. I don't want to go there. Polt gonna come in from behind.
Though, because it is in the planetary, and that's gonna drop Rifkin.
Yeah, or maybe not. The SCVs get underneath it to repair, and they're out of range of the siege tank. Just the Marines to be the threat. Polt sieging up on the high ground. Polt coming in from behind. This is the majority of Drunkenboi's army, and he's gonna lose a lot here for the cost of a couple SCVs. I don't know if this was worth it.
To say, Polt really doesn't have a lot of command centers, so this isn't the situation where you typically see in TVT where one player's got a lot of command centers, able to drop a lot of mules, but Polt's main base and natural are mined out, and there are a lot of SCVs still over here. Is going to be long distance mining for the time being, but his 3rd base, you know, that's pretty mined out too. Back over at Drunkenboi's 3rd base, it looks like he does have a few more mineral patches available to him.
Yeah, there's 3-3 coming up for both players here too. The big difference, of course, we look at the upgrades. Polt's been able to afford in tanks. Yeah, upgrading his tanks, making them stronger, making them better, making them donger, however you want to look at it. Drop is going down in the main, or sorry, not drop, but the auto turrets are going down in the main. If he can kill some supply depots, that'll be huge, because that's the one thing these guys have been, even on supply, non-stop this game. Despite the losses on both sides of the field, it's been pretty even supply. Drop come down here in the north for Drunkenboi, and the auto turrets still have not been cleaned up, and a couple of those depots are burning.
Alright, Polt's going to move in at the planetary fortress here. Drunkenboi, I don't know if he actually has enough to clean this up. Polt's in a superior position with that medevac, and, whoa, going to stim in, and can he take down the planetary fortress?
Yeah, the SCVs are going to evacuate. That cost him quite a few Marines, though.
On the same grain here, Drunkenboi took down the command center with only about a handful of Marines. And only about a handful of Marines, I mean about 8. And he's going to continue to try to press forward here, but those are going to be slaughtered.
Yeah, that's a big army from Polt. But the TVT trades this game have been crazy. The difference is this was a very evenly, almost exactly the same resources lost a few minutes ago. It's so heavily one-sided in the favor of Polt right now. He just lost a huge medevac there, but even so, doesn't really affect his score at the top.
And Polt's got 4 bases, man, with this newly established planetary fortress within the safety of that sensor tower. And Polt's going to hold down this position where Drunkenboi really is going to try to take a 4th, yeah.
His tanks are hitting the other tanks. It's 65 damage versus 50. This is absolutely huge.
Yeah, that's way more significant than we may be able to ever point out. But this one Viking is also going to be pretty significant too, considering that anytime the Marines move in, they're pretty much going to be one-shotted at that point.
Polt's Planetary Fortress has got a huge force moving towards it now. This might not be able to knock it down, but it will kill quite a few SCVs. Knowing that the large portion of the army's over here, the Polt may just move in or retreat with that army. Over there on the left side of the map. No, in fact, just going to push forward with a lot of Marines.
Look at this monster army that Polt has moved across the middle of the field. General army supplies here, 47 SCVs to 48 SCVs, 84 Marines for Drunkenboi, 87 for Polt, the 14 tank counts
that
for
is
Polt
a huge stim.
Monstrous.
That is so many Marines that just stim forward. Going to try and catch the orbital. They do knock it down like it's nothing at all. Siege going to come up here in the back for Polt. And of course, he's got those upgrades on his side. We'll see if it's going to be enough. Drunkenboi with, perhaps a better engagement, but Polt with more numbers, more upgrades. We'll take the fight from behind. We'll take the front from the front. Or fight from the front. Blah, blah, blah. As the medevacs are, completely eradicated as well. Good game. Well played. And Polt will take it 2-0 over Drunkenboi.
That was really well done from Polt there, not stimming his Marines forward, utilizing their damage as much as he could at the top of the ramp to just try to pepper away at all the units that were sitting down below. Drunkenboi was trying to move his units up while Polts were continuing to do damage against them and just convincingly takes the win there. And we'll move on further in tournament. So Polt, it seemed like he was, dead on arrival. Rifkin didn't seem like he showed up to the tournament, but now we find him moving out of the round of 32.